Yes, sir.
But now, when we got to talk.
You can leave them on. I mean, it's not like you're telling secrets. You know what I mean? If you want to be sure.
She tells me all kinds of secrets.
We can't hear them, I promise. And speaking, I know, remember when we talked last time? You started talking, you got to talk into it as well.
Okay, will do. He came to my house the other day and brought me a Bible.
We did.
Go ahead and get started.
Mic check.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to February 13th work session. I know we only have one item before we go into closed session, but I think it's an important topic. I know we've been talking about it for a while, and I'm glad we're able to finally have some of the juice to act on it. So I will turn it over to Mr. Manager.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. The first and only presentation that we have for you this afternoon is our Summer Youth Employment Program. And as many of you know, Council has expressed an interest in establishing a Summer Youth Employment Program to assist youth with education, training, job placement, as well as, and I should say, most importantly, career pathways. We're pleased to share a high-level snapshot of the program as we transition from planning to implementation of the program. So this afternoon, we'll provide you with an opportunity to see our thinking that provides the underpinnings for the program and allow you an opportunity to ask questions as well. So to kick us off, we have Acting Assistant City Manager Owen Miller, who will introduce the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Good afternoon. So I have just a couple moments, and then I'll turn it over to my colleague, Larry, who will be sharing the brunt of the presentation today. I did just want to point out quickly, and Alan touched on it already, we clearly know that this is a council priority, and we've had staff working on this for the last several months. I just want to give kudos to all those staff. Larry's really been leading our effort, but all the staff team that's been involved in this. Also wanted to give recognition to a range of stakeholders that we've had throughout this process. We've engaged folks across the community, and they've been providing active input on the program. So just did want to acknowledge all their work so far. And without further ado, I will turn it over to Larry Brunson, our Executive Director for Brooks Crossing Innovation and Opportunity Center. Thank you.
Thank you, Owen. I'm so glad to be here, and I'm so excited about what we're about to share with you today. I would like to say that my first week with the City of Newport News as Executive Director, Alan Archer said, we need to raise up the STEP program. And I said to myself, STEP to what? Further conversations led to, and explaining what STEP was all about, a summer youth employment program that was here a few years ago. And then last summer, he said, hey, a few of the councilmen had these ideas, read up on it. And he gave me something to read. I read it, I loved it. I began to do research behind the scenes. So what we're about to introduce to you is a citywide program that was well thought out. It's part of your vision. It's part of the city's vision. And some of you long-term members that's been on the board, I know it's part of your vision here. You're going to be excited about it. So let me just start with an introduction. This program complements two objectives in the city's strategic plan: career learning, career opportunities, and employment. So really what it does, it equips our youth with, first, let's click it. It equips our youth with the tools they need: education, training, job placement, career skills, and career pathways. So what's unique about this program? First, it is a citywide program. Secondly, it's not a standalone program. It strengthens connection between summer and all year-round employment-related activities for our youth. We will leverage existing programs within the city to foster more partnerships with employers, training providers, and local youth workforce entities. And thirdly, but not least, very important, we have trained, caring youth coaches and staff to ensure that learning objectives are met for the overall program while providing individual and group ongoing support. So our partners. Owen mentioned the array of partners that we have, and as you can see by the logos, there were many involved. Over half of these individuals or groups actually were at the advisory table to help us, sometimes to check us, to give us good advice. And I will tell you that a few stood out among some others, and I will say Riverside was number one in terms of being accepting the role of a work site provider and also a training provider. So let me give you their idea, which aligns with ours. They will take our youth, primarily 18 to 24, and will place them cross-sectionally across Riverside Hospital. That means non-clinical and clinical positions: clerical, computer tech, lawn care, sitters. There are an array of opportunities for our young people to learn. In addition to that, they will assess them throughout their journey. And let's say, for instance, Christine was in lawn care, but her interest was computer tech. And they say, hey, Christina, you did a great job. You hit all the bells and whistles. You've learned. Guess what? We want to now offer you permanent employment and provide you the training, most of the time free, in those fields of your endeavor. That's a career pathway, and that's what this program will promote. Secondly, we have Virginia Peninsula Community College. Both a work site provider and a training provider will do the same exact thing. And I have to mention the city of Newport News. I say it with a smile because our HR department is awesome. Did you know that our HR department have registered apprenticeships already? They've already been certified by DOL. And guess what another partner said? Oh, great. You can now place these students or these preparers at these work sites with the city of Newport News where there are gaps at. It could be clerical, indoor, outdoor. And New Horizons said, now we're going to also assist HR department by providing customized pre-apprenticeships. So now that also encourages what? Apprenticeships and long-term employment. I have to also mention What's Next, because What Next has been a partner with Brooks Cross from day one. They get the word out. They get the message out. They already have navigators that are working with people through various programs. And we expect the same with this program as well. So our targeted population, again, this is a state I say state, right? But it's a citywide program. We hope to model for the state, right? So we intend to serve approximately 100 youth from the city of Newport News, ages 16 to 24 for the summer. To participate, you must be a Newport News resident. You must have a valid ID, Newport News Public School or state ID, or some other documentation approved by the city. Complete a required application process, and for those that are younger than age 18, they must have a signed consent form from their parent or guardian. I want to top on recruited and enrolled youth for this citywide program. Participants that are enrolled or recruited must meet at least one of the 7 that you see on the board. For example, those with disabilities, those that have English as a second language, those that live in high crime rate areas, those that live in low income areas, those that are justice involved, those that are 16 to 24, out of work and underemployed. So we're hitting the targets, but we're hitting the targets in a broad sense. So this is what I'm really excited about, because Brooks Crossing is already digital in terms of application selection and follow-up and data collection. And now my team, who is temporary, developed this on our website. Almost ready to go. When it's ready to go, it'll be a place where youth can come and get information. There'll be a video attached to this that will explain the process, the application process, dates, those kind of things. But not only just an application and selection tool, but it's also an assessment tool. It's also mobile friendly. It can be used from your phone, tablet, computer, 24/7 access, because it's connected to our what we call My One Flow, and so it's 24/7 access. It's also a assessment tool, because it's not just going to be an application, but inside the application it'll be an interest assessment, a skill assessment. We're gathering all this data. It'll be an eligibility assessment, pieces of it, and then our partners will be in this tool as well. So we get 300 applicants, right? But we only have 100 enrollees that we can master at this time, right? But our partners, New Horizons, the Shipyard, VPCC, VTA, whomever these partners are, and there's quite a few, they also will be in, and they'll say, are you interested in the Shipyard? Are you interested in New Horizon? Do you want to be a welder? Are you good with working with your hands? Are you tech savvy? We're collecting all this data up front, and the system will separate the interests, the eligible from the ineligible, those that fit certain programs better than others, and it will help us select that first priority selection of folks to be enrolled. The system will also do other things. For example, if we wanted forms, that required forms, they can upload them here. The system also has a way of, if someone needs help, we have a 24-hour, but during business hours, they can call for an appointment to get help with their application, and we're going to have a paper application as well. We also will have things like location sites, referral location sites, libraries, schools, Parks and Rec, city offices, where we can find to put them, so that there will be marketing material that they can just click on with a scan and go right to the same system anywhere, anytime. So we're definitely moving into the 21st century, and because we've had support and advice from cities like Richmond that has great programs, the city of Charlotte has the #1 youth employment program in the nation, have consulted with us. The city of Chicago as well. They all said one thing that was in common: you must be digital. You must be digital, and that's what we've done. Participant services, 8-week summer employment program, work-based learning placement program. Each participant receives a stipend of $15 per hour, averaging 25 hours a week. Estimated 30 hours of pre-employment job readiness training prior to work site placement. And let me just pause here for a second. I understand with STEP, the week that this took place, we were doing interviewing, we were doing a whole bunch of different things, collecting applications. None of that exists in this program. You'll see in the timeline that I provided towards the end, all orientations, all paperwork, all questions, all meetings with parents are done prior to the actual start week of this job readiness, for an example. We also have built into the program asynchronous and face-to-face workforce training and education, which meaning that the participants will have assignments, even though they might be working, that will be asynchronous they have to complete in terms to be a completed enrollee in the program. And then based on assessment and interest, ages specific to 18 and 24 will have the opportunity to enter into industry certificate and credential training, not at a work site, but actually at a school, and still get paid the stipend because that leads them to that credential, that leads them to that industry placement that the employers are talking about. And then, of course, we have referrals and co-enrollment activities built into our training program that includes our training and worksite providers. So, again, we are trying to cover every base that we can in terms of getting people the help they need on a continuous basis. And it will be the same for Brooks Crossing.
I have a question. One of the things of in our last program happened about the pay. So often the kids we'd get ready to pay them, and their parents would come and take the money. So what I'm wondering is if you can build into this program some way that they have a bank account set up for them so that their parents cannot, if they choose to give their parents some money, that's fine. But in some cases, as I understood it, it was just taken from them. So
I will say that we thought about not necessarily a specific question. However, built into this program, like one of our matrices would be how many people had bank accounts set up and how many people had direct deposit. So that will be a goal, and we will hire an administrator that have turnkey services that align with our program, that are already ready to go, that will handle those type of situations. But that's a well-thought question, and we have covered that in our program as well.
Good, thank you.
So I'm going to pause a minute because most summer employment programs, most cities that are successful label it the mayor's summer youth employment program. So I believe the mayor has something he wants to say.
So we talked about this just a little bit, but a lot of cities call it the Mayor's Youth Commission, the program, because it sort of elevates it. I would like to use sort of the chair's prerogative. I think Councilman Vick, I think you've been championing this for a long time. So I think in the inaugural year, as we sort of bring it back, if you could somehow, I think instead of the Mayor's Youth Summer Employment Program, Councilman Vick something, I think we can do some sort of hybrid. But I think you've been on council for a long time and you've been championing it. I think it's appropriate that you had the name of it, if that's okay.
That's right.
But we'll all get jealous.
I'm sure there'll be some angry emails, but I think you've been.
I'll get everyone a job here.
But I think it's important to give credit to where credit is due. So thank you,
You're
Tina.
gonna make me cry again.
And well deserved.
Thank you.
So I am very much data driven. This program will have reporting requirements. The lead agency and the selected turnkey contractor will track meaningful data, and these are just examples of what it would look like. But the system is able to collect the data that we want and create meaningful matrix that makes sense to us in our city that can be extracted at any time during the program, after the program, a year after the program, so we can continue to track the progress of people, whether they stay just for the summer or if they go on to careers, or we have to now coach them beyond the summer. So when we talk about this not being a standalone program, that's what we mean. That Brooks Crossing is already doing it. This will be an extension of the services provided to these folks that are enrolled, and some that don't get to the enrollment pieces but have been an applicant that was eligible. We'll provide those services for them and give you feedback. So now I feel more comfortable when the city manager says, can you give me how many people was in a program back in 2024 and it's 2026? I can say, sure. click a few buttons and here it is. So that's the goal. This is something that's worked in many other cities. And the foresight is Brooks Crossing already started establishing this without approval, but within the range of my responsibility, thinking ahead. So again, I want to let you know that we have thought this out entirely. We also have an estimated program timeline. My staff, who is temporary right now, is working behind the scenes every day, myself, making sure that when it's ready to go without a hitch. We have some aggressive timelines, and I want to assure you, the 24th of June, unless there is a tornado, we will start June 24th for that week of workforce training. How can we do this? Because prior to all of that, all the things you see above have been taken care of before that point. So I want to thank you. I'm so excited about this. This is well thought out. It's not thrown together. It's been proven over and over again in successful cities. We have listened to you. I've listened to Alan. I've listened to Owen. I've listened to Lisa Z. I've listened to community partners. And then, of course, my own subject matter expertise lets me know that this will be successful in this way.
We'll go, can I get mine first? Yeah. Just first of all, just thank you. I think when the new council came in, I know this was priority number one, was to bring back the summer employment program and to really give it some teeth. I'm a big fan of after action, so I know we've done this in the past. Do we have any of that data or after action from before that we can take a look at? Would be question number one. And question number two is, if you go back to the timeline, I know we have 60 days after the program concludes, we have a sort of program eval. Can we just put that somewhere? I feel like we always try to recreate the wheel, and I don't want to have to do this in 6 years or 8 years and say we messed up here. So if we could, one, find a way to look at the after action from last time, and then just have a way to really codify the outcomes. We can make this better year over year.
Absolutely. So the answer to your first question, I don't have an answer. I know there's some data that do exist. I will get with those parties and get back with you on that data, because that is very important data. One thing I do know why we're going this route, because we didn't have enough data. And the efforts were very well spent, but there was no coordination because there was no lead agency that was specific to workforce and had that experience to navigate those markers. So what I'm saying to you now is that my expertise level, my experience with working with the state and localities for in-school and out-of-school youth summer programs, it's about 15 years of experience. So we're not going into this alone. We are going with some prior knowledge, some things that we shouldn't do. And even as we consulted with our teams inside the city and outside the city, they gave us some good things not to do in terms of starting this program.
Thank you. Councilman Long.
I want to say thank you for putting all this work together. I know this is something that we all on council have been wanting to bring back. The question I have, you labeled 16 to 24. What do you think the breakdown for ones that are still in high school, the 16 to 18 level that will participate? And two, I saw where you have youth coaches. Are they going to be integrated into the school system so that way we make sure they're not only just continuing being coached on career placement, but also making sure they have the right courses they're taking in school, and the guidance counselors kind of integrated so that way these students will come back year after year potentially until they are placed in a career?
You're exactly on point.
I said 16 and 20.
You're exactly on point. So I'm going to answer it this way. The City of Newport News school system is our partner. They're at the table. They have various programs that are work-based learn activities. So this initial program is working in reverse. We are mirroring a lot of the things that the school system does to get students prepared for work life. So now they have applied work life in this program that they take it back to the school, and then they can reflect on in their learning. The coaches that we're talking about, and we're talking about a ratio in between 1 to 10, one coach every 10, maybe 1 to 20. They will be, we'll have regular coaches at Brooks Crossing anyway. But we also have these additional coaches. We're talking like 7, 8, 9, 10 coaches. Their specific role is to walk with those students and to get data on them and to follow their data perspective into school. Then the regular coaches would take over that part. We're working with the school system so that we can share information. So how do you do that? By becoming a great partner and everybody understands what we have to share. So what I think what you're asking is, how is it going to continue? Yeah. We are aligning some of our activities to match and mirror what's being done in school, so that when we get together as a team, then we can share the meaningful data that we need and capture.
Yeah, because the thing is, 16, 17, they're protected in that you can't get information or share information. So if you don't have the schools connected into this program, we may lose those teenagers during those years when they go back to the school. So I just want to make sure that there's a connection, that schools are integrated into the program.
You're right on target.
Also, I'd like for you to write a report at the end of this about how many people actually got jobs going on, but to keep the data going after the program is over. Evaluate it and put in what should be changed, but also an evaluation of the program and a report on it. I don't think you have anything like that from before.
Again, you're right on target. Let me tell you that not only will we have after program evaluations, but we'll also have several meetings with our administrator and, of course, the lead team, where we'll have meetings that will now can evaluate while the program is going on. If there need to be immediate changes, then we'll have the data, the information, the research to do that. So, again, it's not a one-shot deal. We're evolving, and I'm sure we're going to make some mistakes, but we have a system in place where we can catch them hopefully early enough and then use that data for the next year to improve upon it year by year by year by year.
And I'd like part of that to be council.
Absolutely.
I'd love to read a report on it.
Okay. And Mr. Brunson, so do you also have already in place to find out, are some of these kids first time having a job? I think that would be something important, because as you look at, some of the things that are important to summer youth programs, because sometimes some kids are the first generation of children who have worked in their families if they've come from generations of poverty. And so I think that would be a great number to have to make us as a city really look at how we're changing lives by introducing some people to the world of work.
You're exactly on point. Again, this is an on-point board, City Council. You're absolutely on point. And we have worked in those assessments and the upfront data collection. Have you ever worked before? All of that's is done in the application process. And then, because the students still have to be assessed prior to any of that, they have to be assessed on their skill level, so we know whether they need, some people won't need as much coaching as we might provide, so now we can concentrate on those that really need it. We also worked into the budget piece of that, the idea that there is room for some supportive services. We're talking about trauma-informed care for these youth, whether they're 16 or 24, that are traumatized by life, home life, school life, peer life. So we try to create a program or an approach that is holistic in nature. And then with our other partners involved, Brooks Crossing is not an expert at mental illness. However, we have those that are expert level in our pathway for partners.
What about money management? Is there anything in your curriculum that helps young people learn how to manage their money and how to save and how to do the things with it they should? I think that could be a valuable part of it.
That is one of the number one factors in the program, financial literacy. In addition to the platforms that we already have established, our Financial Opportunity Center, and then we're already working through the program, Bank of America and Truitt's has stepped to the plate to also offer their assistance in this program for free in regards to that. And that includes bank accounts, how to spend your money, how to invest your money. We want to create
That is good.
real-world life experiences. So in this program, the orientation lunch, we're going to feed them lunch. But during the week of training, we're going to teach them that, great, you're about to get your check, so save out X amount of dollars for your lunch. So they'll be responsible for their lunch. The city won't be. It's their money they'll be responsible for.
The city appreciates that. I know for time, we really want to get into close, but do you have any last thoughts?
Real quick, once again, this is phenomenal, and I think the only thing I'll add is, hopefully we don't wait until the end to get the report. Maybe about halfway, if we can get like some kind of update on the status, just to know how things are going. I wouldn't mind a third additional one, but I think halfway will pretty much do what we needed to. So just want to say thank you again, and
Yeah,
hopefully we
thank
can form that cadence.
Yes,
Yes.
Ditto.
Thank
On
you.
point.
thank you.
Thank you so much. And as we wrap this up, I think it's also important that there's a dedicated effort to the recruitment, right? I think that's the initial part. I know Councilman Neely mentioned sometimes the communication doesn't get to certain people because they're not on the internet, or I think we have to really push this. And so it's not staff's job. It's really our job to push and say, hey, we had this great program. Staff has put in all this time. But if no one applies, then we're not going to do this next year, right? So we need to make sure that this really gets to the people that need it.
I think
Right.
another good way to make sure it's getting to the people is having that great partnership with the guidance counselors at the schools. They will be able to identify better than anyone the kids that are in most need. So I think that'd be a huge part to let the guidance counselors spread the word as well, because they deal directly with the kids on a daily basis.
Well
We
said.
might even have a special session with them, with just the guidance counselor.
Yes.
Well, I know we're on time. Alan, you got it. I'm trying to push it.
Well, I want to thank Larry and the staff for helping pull all of these pieces together. There's certainly a deliberate attempt to build on the success of other communities in addition to the experiences that we've learned from previous years. I just want to reinforce the connectivity with Newport News Public Schools. I've had this conversation with Superintendent of Public Schools from the very beginning, and just to let you know that we are in alignment with the sense of dedication and commitment to this program. But secondly, the schools are also working on some summer youth employment programs. So it will be important for the city, and particularly for communications, to put together a web page this summer that not only focuses on this program, but it gives parents, guardians, all the above, one single place to look at the array of programs that will be available. It's not just this one. This one will contribute, but it's what we're doing collectively with our other partners. Thank you.
Well said, Alan. I think we're going to do comments, ideas, suggestions before we go into close. So we can just, Alan, start with you and then go around the table.
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
Nothing, sir.
I'll be quick. First, just want to say thank you to the city manager and staff for planning our retreat. It was awesome. Enjoyed the fellowship opportunity with my colleagues on council and city staff. Innovation requests. I get a few requests from citizens, and I don't know, it made me think of maybe we should have some kind of way to submit for our innovation office. I don't know, just thinking out loud, but the point is, it was like some technical issues they were having through the website or something like that, but I can talk to you more about it offline. A SWAM coordinator, we've had one for about 15 months now. So I'm just curious as to what, the status, what she has been able to find as far as where we are right now, what the plan is going forward. And so I figured if we could have that next work session, hopefully, maybe she can come and just give us a presentation, adding it to my list. And then a formal petition process. I don't know if we have one. Say if citizens decide they want to petition for something, like who verifies it, like the registrar's office, when you have to run for council, they verify all our petitions, but do we have a formal process? And if not, looking into it at some point, but that is all that I have.
All right, real quick, I know the governor has talked about boosting spending toward childcare. It's about $25 million that he's kind of outlaid. Just want to make sure the city is staying in front of it. We're able to get Peak Childhood Center downtown Newport News, but we also have other areas across the town that we can kind of look at, seeing where we can build out some childcare capacity in the city. The second thing is I know we've talked about having a joint board, school board meeting. I know that's always Councilwoman Vick's statement. Yeah, that's fine. We've talked about having a joint school board meeting, and just want to make sure we're still planning to have that in some near future, especially before we go into the budget.
Yeah, we the issue is scheduling.
Okay.
Just for, it's not a us thing or a them thing. It's almost impossible to get 14 plus people in a room. We've tried. We'll try again.
Okay. All right. That's all.
Just want to thank Larry and his team for that amazing presentation. It's great to see that workforce is definitely being on the top of the agenda of Newport News, bringing jobs back. And it's always, I feel like it's always important to start them off at an early age, just to build that habit. So when they become 18 and 24, they already have that habit as far as workforce and getting a job and networking stability. And like you said, Dr. Woodbury, even with financial literacy, if we train them at an early age, hopefully by the time they get to 24, they end their career. So we're excited about this and just excited to see it continue to come back in the city of Newport News.
And then we want them to come back and take care of us.
Yes.
I just want to add real quick that at our South District Community Meeting, Vice Mayor, you asked me today about the time frame of building the Huntington Middle School, and it's the second half of the school year 2025-2026.
Okay, thank you.
Nothing at this point.
So just one question, 3 comments for Ms. Allison in the back. HR question. Do we have a Title VI rep, like a civil rights rep? I got a lot of calls about that this week. I didn't know if we Title VI representative. I think it's like a civil rights. I think it's a federal position. I didn't know. Some cities outsource it. Some cities have it internal. I just didn't know if we had a Title VI.
Title VI.
A Title VI officer.
A person, yeah. Like I don't know where in HR. Okay, so no Title VI. Okay, I was just.
But they do
We
have
do.
one. I serve on the HRT board, and we have one that is very, very active and full-time.
Okay.
So I would suggest you perhaps talk to her, the person who's in charge with, because that it really is very important, and we can be called on if we're not providing services to all of the people that we need to be. So,
You grab a mic though. Just hold a mic close. Thank you.
Yeah, we currently don't have a rep per se for the city, but we are now internally discussing that right now because we just have an agreement that we went through with VDOT that we have to have a point of contact, but it's more than just one department. So we're going to get together internally and discuss how we're doing that and who that should be. In the meantime, there is a training session that's going on, I think the 22nd of this month, and we've got something like at least 4 or 5 individuals that are going to be going to that's being put on by FHWA and VDOT and so forth. So we're working on that.
I would suggest you contact HRT because they have a full-time person and talk to them and see what they do.
Sure.
Yeah, that's
Sure.
perfect.
Thanks.
Yeah, I just wanted to flag. I just think it's important that we have that. I think it's federal legislation, so that we should have it in house. And I'm glad someone flagged it to me because I couldn't speak on it, and so I wanted to research it. So thank you all. Second is a thank you. I know it was a big priority for everyone on council was to submit for the All-American City Award. So I want to give a shout out to Lisa Z and David and Sarah and Communications and Tiffany and did I miss anyone? And Jared, where's he at? My man in the back. You've been very helpful. I know I send emails at 2 a.m. and say like fix this and add this, but I think it's a well-written application. Look forward to Denver, David. And no, I'm excited. I think more than just a check in the box in the award. I think staff does a great job of doing all the programming, but for us to sit down to package it and to say this is why we're a top 10 city, it's really important. So thank you to that all-star team. Sorry for the direct emails late at night, but that's just how I talk. So I really appreciate it. I really do. Thank you. And then 2 more on just the somber note. So thank you to the fire department for letting me participate with Alan and with Bo Captain Carter's his going away service this past week. I know 27 years is a long time, and we appreciate his service and all that you do for our community. So from Alan and Bo and myself, we really appreciate you letting us take part in that ceremony. And then obviously we know Councilman Harris, his father passed away this week. The funeral is going to be on Sunday. You want to speak on it?
I just know Sunday at 1:30.
It's your church, so.
That's not my church.
Oh,
but
sorry. It's
I
up
just
there.
know Sunday at 1:30.
Yeah, 1:30. So,
1:30?
yeah, we'll make sure. Maybe we'll send it out, but it's at First Baptist Church Morrison, 1:30 on Sunday. If we could have support from council, that'd be great. And that's all I have. Can someone take us into closed
All
session?
right. I move that pursuant to Section 2.2-3711A of the Code of Virginia 1950 as amended, subsection 3, 5, and 39, that the council hold a closed meeting for the purpose of 3, discussion or consideration of the disposition of publicly held real property where discussion in open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the city, the subject which is the potential disposition of real property in the central section of the city. 5, a discussion concerning a prospective business or industry where no previous announcement has been made of the business or industry interest in locating a facility in the community, the subject which is prospective new business in the central section of the city. And 39, a discussion or consideration of proprietary information voluntarily provided by a private business pursuant to a promise of confidentiality from a public body used by the public body for business, trade, and tourism, development, or retention, the subject of which is the discussion of a report provided by entity to assist the city in analyzing its regional asset inventory.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Mayor Jones.
4.
Councilman Long.
4.
Councilwoman Vick. 4. Councilwoman Woodbury.
4.
Vice Mayor Bethany.
4.
Councilman Ely.
4.
Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, I move that members of the council certify that to the best of each member's knowledge, one, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and two, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion for which a closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered in the closed meeting by the council.
Moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Mayor Jones.
4.
Councilman Long.
4.
Councilwoman Vick. Councilwoman Woodbury. Vice Mayor Bethany.
4.
Councilman Ely. Motion carried, 6-0.
Thank you. We're standing.